All right, guys, I'm at home right now, and I attempted to make, well, I did make a video, a week of a Walmart driver. I couldn't have picked a better week for this video. Not because of the money, not because everything went smoothly. It was actually because almost everything went completely wrong. I am about to show you. This is not a typical week, but it's things that could happen to anybody. They just all seem to happen to me in the span of 36 hours. I also got some news here at the house on my last day that some medical things that are going on. Nothing too terribly serious. Just I'm trying to get the bariatric stuff taken care of, and I'm running into some roadblocks and doctors and the CPAP machine they put me on, which I can't sleep with the damn thing on my nose, and they say that it's helping my breathing according to the modem, but I'm having some troubles. I got some things going on here at the house. My personal life is just, this week was just a disaster. Then you couple that with everything that happened that you're about to see in this video. I apologize it's long. I didn't think it would be this long, but I wanted to give you guys a quick synopsis of a week in the life of a Walmart driver. And there are so many things that are going to go crazy in this video that you guys are going to see. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to see a lot. I'm going to show you the money. I'm going to show you everything. The one thing I want you guys to take away from this video, if nothing else, is how, and I know some people can't stand how positive I am at Walmart, but I think this video proves my point. I had a horrible week, terrible week. I mean, other than getting into an accident or something really, really bad happening, I should have made no money this week at all. And I had one of the best weeks I've ever had. And with all the problems that I had, I got sick one night. I got caught by a train one night. A store wouldn't answer the door. I got stuck outside for over a half hour. The dock was full because they had 7 trailers because their freezers broke down. I got caught in that rainstorm we had this week. I got caught in a detour. I got to a vendor and they didn't have any trailers because somebody had dropped a trailer and the fuel ran out, and so they had to unload it. They didn't have a trailer for me, so I had to be a live load. There was a fatality on the highway. I had to go around that. There was another accident on the highway on another day. I had to go around that. I think I talk about everything that I got sick in the truck when I don't know if I mentioned that. Like, I got sick. Like, I had to clean up my wastebasket. It's probably nerves. But anyway, you guys are about to see some stuff. So hopefully you learned some things. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Some of the other stuff we got going on here is I've got a septic system that needs to be completely replaced, and right now with the economy and everything that's going on, what was supposed to be a $10,000–$12,000 job is going to cost us like $15,000. So, and I'm not complaining. I mean, I guess I kind of am, but I say that because I've had, I think, 10 referrals so far this year of the hundreds of drivers that I've talked to, and thank God, because that referral money that we've been stacking away, I was going to do something else with it, but now it's basically I'm dumping it in my backyard. Almost, no, every penny. I still need one more referral to finish off this backyard, which I've got 5 people going through orientation right now, and it's what is today, August 30th. So this was the week before August 30th. Today's Tuesday, so there should be some people getting done this Thursday. I got 5 in. If one of them pass a couple weeks from now, I'll have that one more referral to finish all the stuff in the backyard for the excavating company and all that kind of stuff. We got to do a complete tear out septic system stuff. So anyway, sorry, I'm starting to babble. It's a long video. There's a lot of stuff. I do have the timeline in the video down below, so if there's something you want to see or something that just you kind of get bored after the first day and you're like, okay, I get it, and you want to see the last day or you want to see the money, everything is laid out in the comment, or the, what do you call it, description down below, so you can skip to the exact timeline of the video. You guys have always said you really like that I do that so that you can find what you want, when you want, how you want, instant gratification. I get it. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you all my my pay and I was blown away when I saw the money. When they tell you you don't have to rush at Walmart to make money, it's absolutely true. Had everything gone perfect this week, I still would have had a record day. It just would have been, or record week, it just would have been better than what I would have already done. And I'm also going to show you a couple things on the pay that I've never thought to talk about before, how you can use your PTO. Yeah, you can use it to take a day off, but you can also say, like for example this week, I get to the last day, I ran out of gas, I was tired, I'd only had 2 hours of sleep in almost 2 full days. I didn't think I was going to be able to make it back. I didn't think I was going to be able to continue working and stay awake. So when I got back, luckily, I got lucky. They were low on loads at that day, at that point in time, and they allowed me to go ahead and take off a half a day. Instead of losing pay, they allow you to use partial hours of your PTO time to complete your day, so at least you can make your ADP. Your ADP doesn't go down, and you don't lose money on the week because you went home a half a day early. And I have like 7 or 8 days right now. I've used a lot of them for the doctor's appointments and things, but I had 7 or 8 days still. So I used like I think 6.5 or 7 hours to make up what I didn't make money-wise. So you guys are going to see all that at the end too. Again, a lot of information, long video. I really hope you guys enjoy this. This was an experience. I'm kind of glad I did. I almost decided not to do this because I can't imagine you guys would want to see this. But then after I did it, I thought, I'm glad. This was the perfect week to show you guys the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and all of the crap that comes in between. So grab your popcorn because it's about the length of a full picture film. So yeah, hope you guys like it. See you at the back end. Okay, so you guys have been asking me to do a video on the day in a life, and I did a shortened version of just a generic explanation, but I had some people asking me to take pictures of the truck and things like that, and I had to talk to my boss, and I'm not allowed to show you guys any property like the tablet and things like that. So like right now you see my tablet is off. I can show you the truck basically. I have an International, a 2020. There's my Gatorade Zero, my case of water. I've got my phone holder over here on the window. There's the bunk where I made my bed, put all my stuff there. My clothes are in that one, and my cleaning supplies are in that one. And then of course my food is in that refrigerator down there. And I installed that microwave that me and the other 2 guys use in my 5253 program. So when you get here for the day, the first thing you're going to do is pull your car up to a parking space. As you can see, there's parking spaces, and then there's some with cars in them. You load your truck up and you move your car out of the way. You go whatever you need to do on the computer. If you're going to do, you know, go to on duty, pre-trip, do your pre-trip, do all that stuff. Then you back your truck out. You just kind of park it along the side, you know, just kind of park it like right in here or maybe over here. If you're like here, whatever, you know, just common sense, try to stay out of the way. Put your car into your spot where your truck was at. And then you take your truck over to the front of the building, which is way over there, which is the ready line, or our ready line is also along the side of the building here. That building is the locker rooms and meeting rooms, and then the large building over there is where your coordinators are at. The shop is there. Your fuel island is on the other side. Every DC is slightly different on the layout. But anyway, once you get all that done, you get in your truck, you pre-trip, you do all that, you bobtail over to wherever you're going to park if you need to go far, or sometimes you can I just walked across to the main office and then back with my paperwork. Now, what I do with my paperwork, if I can figure out what I do with my pen, here we go. I start my paperwork off. I take these off. These are all of your seals for the night. I start with the lowest one. I'll put it in my pocket because I don't need the rest of these right now. When I get to my next stop, you guys will see when those come into play. And basically, I set up my paperwork. So I put my driver ID and my name. And then basically I would fill out what I need to fill out at this time. At this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the trip number off of my tablet, off of my load, and my trip ID is, oh, they changed the software a little bit. That kind of freaked me out. My trip ID is 3111. How many ones are there? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 ones, 3701. Okay, and I'll show you why that, I'll at least tell you why that's important in a minute. I'm going to estimate my depart time. This is just how I do this. This is not how every driver does it. I'm doing meat and produce, so I have a reefer trailer. My trailer numbers are always the same. So I just go ahead and fill these out ahead of time because I'm not dropping and hooking. I'm not switching any trailers. Tonight, I've got a really, really good load. I have 4 stops and a vendor. I'm going to try to document every step of the way. So this might be a long video, guys, but you are going to see as much as I can possibly show you on a week in the life of a Walmart driver. So I fill out my paperwork as much as I can. I don't know anything about my stops, who the managers are, my temperatures, anything like that yet, so I don't do anything more with that. Then what I do, and if you're not doing meat and produce or you're not doing grocery, this may not really apply to you. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera and do all of this at the same time. I may cut that out. Anyway, so then I sign all 4 of my stops. Now, I have never had more than 4 stops. That's all they put on a paperwork is 4 stops. Today's date is, what is, Friday the 26th. So mine are all going to be delivered on the 27th. So I'm going to date these ahead of time because I don't have to worry about that later. I mean, I could do this at the store, but I choose to do it this way. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I try to be as organized as possible. Bear with me just a second. I'll open up. I have highlighters for my paperwork, and I color coordinate with each store. And I started doing this because I made a mistake one time and missed a pallet that was supposed to be delivered. So what I do is I start with the first store. I'll set these down here for right now. The first store, right here, 2441, that's where they're going to sign. Somebody's blowing the horn. Hopefully that wasn't me. Okay, so 2441, so I highlight all the 2441s. And it says I'm supposed to have 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6. I'm good to go. That's store 1. Store 2, 4609, they sign there. They're supposed to have 7. 4609, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing one? Supposed to have 7. I only have 6. Nope, there it is. That's what, I'm glad I'm showing this to you guys. That is what happened the last time I did this. I missed a pallet that was stashed way up at the top because I'm not sure. I'll show you on this side so you can see. Why is it showing? So anyway, they'll move all that. They'll take care of all that when I get to the store. So I'm going to do the third store. And that one is store 1160. I'm going out to the Cincinnati area tonight. I don't believe I've been to some of these stores, and I've been here almost 2 years. And almost colored that the wrong one. 1160. So I think I'm going to get to see some new places tonight. I probably won't be able to show you much about the stores because I'm not allowed to use my phone when I'm driving or on duty. So I will do what I can and see what happens. And there's 1160 and 1160. They are supposed to have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Am I missing an 11? Oh, yeah, I'm missing a third one right there. There we go. Okay, so there's their 7. This is why I color coordinate my grocery stops. Not everybody does this. Some people just have like one color or 2 colors and they leave the rest of them, whatever. I don't do that. I try to color coordinate everything because I'm a little bit of an airhead sometimes and I will screw up. So our last stop, 1521, also is supposed to have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. So now I know where all my stops are at, and when I get to that store, I will be able to pick these and not miss any. Like when I'm at my second store and I'm delivering these produce and I get these meat, normally I would be done. I wouldn't look any further because why would there be stores down here up here? But there just happens to be one. Like I said, I think this might be the second time I've seen this for whatever reason. So that's what I do with my stores. That part is done. So they wrote on here that my truck is in spot C. As I mentioned, I'm going to write down my depart time. Right now it is 22:22, so it's 10:22. And I'm going to say between now and the time I leave the gate, it will be 11 or 2300. And on my thing here, it says my first store is how far away? The navigation system says my first store is 2 hours and 14 minutes away. So I will arrive, at 0:15. I'm sorry. That's going to be 1:15. 2 hours and 15 minutes away. So that's going to be 1:15 a.m. I usually leave a store in about 30 minutes. So that's going to be 1:45. My next store, I go into my messages that they dispatch sent me, my dispatch messages. And the next store is only 15 miles away, but I almost always give myself 30 minutes because I'm probably going to be in town and I'm not going to be driving very quickly. So I'll get there at 2:15. I will depart that location at 2:45. Now, some stores are closed between 2 and 3. They're not supposed to be, but they do. They go to lunch. Even the managers go to lunch who are on salary. There's always supposed to be somebody there to let us in and unload. Doesn't always work out that way. But anyway, so I'm going to go to the next one, which is 23 miles away. I've probably given myself a little bit of a head time, but I'm still only going to count that as 30 minutes away. So that will be 3:15. I will depart there at 3:45. My last store is then also 23 miles away. That's odd. Okay, I'm going from here to Hamilton, Ohio, to Cincinnati, to Aurora, Indiana, to Cincinnati, Ohio, and back to Hamilton to a vendor. So this is store 1, 2, 3. I will arrive at my fourth store at 4:15. Oh, that's fine. That's number 4. I will depart there at 4:45. I will arrive at my vendor, which is 17 miles away, so we'll call that a half hour. I'm probably going to get there before 5:15, but that's okay. We're going to just estimating here. This is how you guys figure out your ETDs, by the way, which you'll see in just a second. So the vendor is... I've never been to this vendor, so I do not know if this is a drop and hook vendor or if this is a live load. Either way, I always give myself an hour, even if it's drop and hook. So I am going to estimate 1 hour and 15 minutes. Let's call this 7:30 when I depart the vendor. And I will arrive back here, which is 122 miles. Now this one I can figure out from the GPS. I can go down to the very bottom and hit directions to the vendor. You can hear it talking, and it says it's 2 hours and 25 minutes away. So we're going to call it 2:15, because I probably built, you know what, let's call it 2:30, because I don't know how much time I'm going to spend there. So it's going to take 2.5 hours to get back. That's going to be 7, 8, 9. That's going to put me back in the DC at 10 a.m. Now, I've started my day just recently, and it is probably about 10 o'clock when I started. I'll get back here at 10 o'clock, which is 12 hours on my day. So I could put an EDT for 11 a.m., but I only have 1 hour left on my day. The dispatch system is not going to give you anything unless you have at least 2 hours. So unless I really, really hurry throughout the night, I am not going to make it back here with any kind of time to get anything done. If I'm running a little bit ahead, because it's my first night out, Walmart, we just did another training video about this. If you get tired, they want you to stop and take a nap, take in some caffeine so that when you wake up from your nap, your caffeine's in your system. I probably won't do that because by the time I get back here, it's going to be time for me to do my 10-hour shutdown. So I may, at that vendor, if I can, take a small half-hour to an hour nap, which kind of eats up this time, which means I should get back here somewhere between 10 and 11 with almost no time, maybe 11 with really no time remaining once I drop the trailer in the yard and do all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go hook up to my trailer. Again, I can't show you guys driving around the yard or anything like that. And I can't show you the pre-trip process of the truck because I'm on duty. But it will be basically exactly what you guys learned at onboarding. I'm going to couple up to the trailer. I've already pre-tripped the tractor. Once I hook up to the trailer, I'll pre-trip the trailer, hook up all my lines, lift up my, blah, 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 all the stuff you guys know to do. And I will then exit the yard and I will make it to my first stop. When I get to my first stop, I will try to go off duty on my timeline before I leave the store so that I can update you guys on how things are going. I'm going to do as much as I can. But again, like I said, I've got to do it within the rules. So here we go. Night number 1. Oh, actually, I used PTO yesterday because I had doctor's appointments. So I'm only working 4 days this week. So it'll be a little bit shorter of a week. But I believe that's everything I can show you up to this point. And I'll see you when I get to my first stop. All right, so I just finished at the first stop, which was Hamilton, Ohio. As you guys can see, I tried to estimate my departure at 11 o'clock. But as I went to pick up the trailer, somebody did not leave the 2 inches of space when they dropped the trailer. They actually must have rolled it all the way down to the ground and then added some, because I had to go get one of the yard guys to come over and lift the trailer so I could raise the legs so he could put it back down so that my truck could even hook up to it. When I tried to back under it, it was too high, but normally when that happens, you can just put it in the higher gear and go real slow. I couldn't even connect to the trailer, it was so high. So he had to come and do that. The other thing is, when you bring in a reefer trailer, you're supposed to fill it up with fuel. I'm going to assume this was an outside carrier because I can't believe that a Walmart driver would have done this unless it just sat in the yard for a long time. But it was under a quarter of a tank. It was nearly empty. So I had to run over and fill that up. And I mean, it's about 50% of the time I'll have to fill up a trailer before I leave. If it's more than 3/4 full, I won't mess with it because it's only going to be like 3 gallons. If I, especially like when I have a vendor, if it's 3/4 or under, I'll go top it off real quick because I might be dropping that. It might be sitting there loaded and using fuel for a while. Then the driver has to use it and bring it back. And if he doesn't come back that day and he has to, misses by an hour or 2 and he has to finish bringing it back that night and it's got to run off. Anyway, I try to top them off when I can, but this one, it was the lowest I've ever seen a trailer on the yard. So you can see my gate departure time was actually 10 minutes after. And I also got caught by a train and a little bit of traffic on the way here. So I did not arrive to this store until 1:30. They got me unloaded by 1:55. I was back in the truck. That's when I do my paperwork. Then, like I mentioned earlier, these seals, I grabbed the next seal. Again, your mentor is going to show you all this, but seal ending in 606. Well, that's the one that's on the truck right now. I am going to grab seal 606 and put it in my pocket, because when I get done at this stop, I'm going to put that seal on the trailer so that it's ready for that stop. Otherwise, I'll walk into the next stop, I'll open my door, they'll unload me, and then I'll close everything up, and I won't have this seal in my pocket for that third stop. I always forget these seals after my first stop. I forget to put them in my pocket, like right now. So we're going to be a little bit late getting to our next stop, because as you can see, it's almost pretty much 2 o'clock now by the time I got done doing this. That stop is only 15 miles away, but I'm in the town of Hamilton, and I got to go to Cincinnati. Yes, I got to go to Cincinnati. So I might get there right about 2:15. Hopefully they unload between that 2 and 3 o'clock lunchtime, and I'll be good. We'll see what happens when we get there. All right, stop number 2 is done. Got here at 2:35. I'm leaving at 3:05. A little bit behind. I was supposed to depart number 2 at 2:45. Supposed to get to the next one at 3:15. Looked at the GPS, and this one is a half hour away. So we're going to be a little bit late to that one. Hopefully we'll catch up, maybe coming back here. Maybe we'll make up a little bit of time at the vendor if it's a drop and hook. If it's a live load, maybe this will hold true, and I'll just be a little bit late. But like I said, getting back to the DC, I'm only going to have an hour to maybe 2 hours left, because if I arrive at 10 and I give myself an hour to drop that trailer, pick up the next trailer, and be ready to estimate the time of departure at 11, that gives me an hour to get all that done. I only have an hour left. So technically, when I get to this point, well, when I get to the DC, I'll have 2 hours. But like I said, by the time I get all this done and unhooked and get my paperwork for the next one, I'm only going to have an hour. They're probably not going to give me anything, so I've got plenty of time to make it back to the depot, but we'll see what happens. Oh yeah, got to grab my seal for my last one, 07. As you can see, my last stop will be 07. That one's the one I just put on because I was at that stop. So there we go, and that's pretty much it. We'll see what happens at the next one. By the way, you guys might be wondering what happened with that goofy pallet. Well, this pallet right here that I said might be heavy was a heavy pallet. It was potatoes, and I can't remember what else, but it was a heavy pallet. They have the weight listed on every single sticker on every pallet. There's a sticker on each pallet that tells you what store number, what weight, and a bunch of other information. So I'm going to assume, because I haven't really seen up here yet, there's a lot of potatoes and a lot of bananas and a lot of heavy things in this produce section up here. Of course, meat is always heavy. And then we had a lot of watermelons down here, and we had bananas down here. This pallet that should have possibly been up here was very, very light. It was nothing but pre-made salads. So I am guessing that when the loaders do this, I know that they know the weight of every pallet. And I know that the computer program tells them you can't put more than X amount of weight here, because you could overload the weight of your drive axles. So I am guessing that that pallet, being that it was heavy and there was a lot of watermelons and bananas down here, that this one just weighed too much. This one weighed very little, and they had to flip those in order to make my trailer not be overweight. Very rarely is my meat and produce trailers even close to overweight, but I didn't scale this one on the way out like I should have. So I can't honestly say just how close it really was, but that's what I'm going to go with, because this was salads and this was heavy. So yep, we'll see what happens at the third stop.
Asking for route.
Okay, so it is 4:05.
Building route.
Was hoping to be
And
out of
exit
here.
from the store or exit the same way that you
Be
came.
quiet for a second. So I was hoping to exit here by 3:45. I was a half hour behind, so now I'm only 20 minutes behind. I'll be a little late getting here, but hopefully we'll get caught up. And like I said, it was only 7 miles from here to here, so I don't think that's going to take a full half hour. So there's a good chance I'll make it to the vendor right about that time. And I also wanted to confirm that pallet that was up here was watermelons and bananas. This one was also watermelons and bananas. These were all potatoes and like extremely heavy produce. So that's why they did that. I know I mentioned that a minute ago, but I can now confirm that that was not an error, that they did that to balance out the weight. My last store is back in Cincinnati, not too far from where I was at the first time. And I have not figured out where this vendor is. I don't think I've been here before. What does it say? It says Advanced Pierre Foods International Warehouse. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to Google map that and see what it is. And I'll let you guys know. But we'll be there shortly to find out if it's a, let's see, does it say perishable, CDD? Does not say in the system if it's a live load or a drop and hook. So I guess we'll find out when we get there. Well, I'll be surprised. All right, so we got here at 4:45. We're leaving at 5:10. We're supposed to be at the vendor in 5 minutes. It's 7 miles away. Like I said, we'll be pretty close. So my estimations weren't too far off. If I hadn't had the trouble I had with the trailer needing fuel and being picked up off the ground and hitting that train, we'd probably be right on time about right now. So we're going to go ahead. I did look on Google Maps. As you guys know, Google Maps is not meant for driving. But Google Maps is a great tool to put in an address, use the aerial, actual like satellite view, look at the property, look where you go in, look where you park, and just be prepared for what's coming up as part of your pre-trip planning. Always use the pre-trip. Always use the map system, the navigation that they have here at Walmart, but always try to plan ahead as well. Don't always trust just the Walmart GPS. Back in the old days, we used to use the Rand McNally's. Now everybody kind of uses Google Maps to prep, because if you find a small street, you know, Rand McNally's great for bigger streets and things like that, but if you want to find a road that, are you allowed to go on it? You can get a street view, look for road signs, look for overweight signs, no truck signs, and all that kind of stuff. So I do use Google Maps a lot for that kind of stuff, but I use the truck GPS navigation system that they give us for most things. So we'll go to this vendor and see what we've got. I don't believe I've ever been here before. When I looked at Google Maps, it didn't look familiar. It didn't give me any information. It just says Interstate Warehouse. It's a cold storage, so I don't even have a clue what I'm picking up. I don't know if I'm live load or if it's going to be drop and hook. It does look like it might be a live load because I didn't see a lot of extra trailers laying around, but there were a few. So I don't know if this is a vendor that we've got like what they call white glove service or whatever, where we can leave 1 or 2 trailers. But if that was the case, a lot of other DCs that have some trailers there too. And I didn't see enough trailers to make me think that this was going to be a drop and hook. So I think I'll take my nap while they're loading my truck, and then we'll get on the way. But I'll update you guys as soon as I get there. All right, so I am leaving the warehouse now. When I got here, I checked in and they told me it was a drop and hook. So I got here right around, I think it was 5:30-ish, and it's now 6:30-ish. So I should make it back to the DC by 9 a.m. if I decide to do that. I have 2 options right now. I'm not super tired at the moment, but I have a 2.5 hour drive back to the DC. So I'm not sure how I'm going to feel between now and then, being this is my first day back. I tried to get a nap last night before I started my day, but that didn't happen. So I'm going to see if I can make it back. If I do, I'll get there around 9. I would then have an EDT of 10 with 2 hours. They probably aren't going to have anything for 2 hours worth of work. So I would shut down basically at 10 a.m. My normal start time is 11. So if I shut down at 10, my new start time after my 10-hour break is going to be 8 p.m. That is what's called rolling back your clock. I normally have it out the gate at 11, but if I stop the 2 hours early and do my 10-hour, I'm going to start at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. is a little early for me to be starting because they don't really start doing the meat and produce loads until 9 p.m. So if I did get there at 9 and shut down at 10, I'd be rolling my clock back a little bit too much. So I may stop and take a small nap on the way back to the DC, and then I'll get back to the DC around 11 like I originally planned, and then my 10-hour break would put me at 9, and it gets me a little bit closer to where my clock is supposed to be. But we'll see what happens. I am feeling a little tired, but not super tired, so I don't know. We'll see how I feel. If I get to the point where I can't drive or don't feel like driving because I'm tired, I'll take a nap. That's Walmart's policy. Take a nap. So I might do that. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, this warehouse, I picked up cheeseburgers, cordon bleu sandwiches, and some things like that. They're frozen meals. The reefer had to be set to -10, and that's what I did. So, forgot to tell you about it. All right, guys, I gotta apologize. I stopped this morning. I was so tired, I forgot to do the video portion. But basically, I got 30 minutes away from the depot and decided to go ahead and shut it down there. It did shut me down about 10:30, 11 o'clock, whatever it was. And so I started up at 9 o'clock tonight. Went the last 45 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it was. It wasn't very far. Might only been 25 minutes. And got to the depot. I've got my paperwork for tonight. Tonight we're going to Hammond, Indiana, Chicago, and Chicago. Dog Bears. Just watched the game, at least the first half before I started my shift. So, yeah, basically we're going to do the same thing tonight as we did last night. Most of you that if you've been watching this video, you might be getting bored or be like, okay, so it's the same thing every night. Yeah, it's the same thing every night. But it's easy. I'm not working terribly hard to get my steps in on my Fitbit. Sometimes I walk around the outside of the store. When I get to a store tonight, what I'm going to try to do is when I get to a store and I go off duty on the clock. Well, I can't go off duty on the clock because then I can't work inside the store. I'm going to see what I can do. I wanted to try to get, maybe I'll go off duty when I'm done, and then I'll show you guys like what happens at the store. I can't videotape anybody in the store because I don't have their permission and things like that, and I need to be off duty when I'm doing the video. So I'll see what I can do about getting you guys some footage of what it's like to walk up to the door, what it's like when I get to the store, and the process that I do using the walkie and all that kind of stuff, because I realized I didn't do that last night. I mean, I'm not a professional film director or some cinematographer, so I'm trying to make these videos the best I can and give you the best information that I can, and that's pretty much about it. So I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to look at the paperwork again tonight, and I'm going to show you basically what I did last night. We're going to do the same thing tonight, and maybe there's something different. I'm not exactly sure, but we'll find out in just a second. Okay, so we've got the seals that they always tape to your paperwork, which sometimes that drives me nuts because then the tape tears the paper, and I'm just kind of, I don't want to say OCD because OCD is an actual illness and I don't have OCD, but I wish there was a term for what I am. I'm very picky at some things and I'm super sloppy at others. Maybe that's just part of having ADD. I've heard that is a thing. Which I actually was diagnosed with years and years and years ago in high school. I've just never taken the medication for it. They taped the things together too, so I'm trying to pull that that last one, camera shut off. But anyway, that seal is there to show that it wasn't tampered with, that the right seal is with the load, and that you didn't mess with anything or nobody else messed with anything. Why the drivers would potentially steal makes no sense to me, because this is way too good of a job so that you can have an extra watermelon at home or whatever it is that I'm hauling. So just like last night, my number and my name on the paperwork. Something else that I didn't show you, or maybe I did, I don't remember, but we're going to go ahead and do it, is on the tablet, which again I can't show you, but I'm going to kind of talk you through. And again, you're going to learn all this with your mentor, but this will just give you a little bit of a heads up. You're going to click Begin Trip. And when you click Begin Trip, you're going to be given a trip number. I write that number right here, 28783. I write that right there, and then I write my departure schedule over here. Again, most guys probably don't do this. This is just me. 312-966, 312-966, 312-966. Those are my 3 stops. I do that. The reason I write this number here is because in the tablet, you have to put your load information. You'll put your load number, you'll put your route number, or BOL, and in our case, this is the BOL for our load, and you'll put your trailer number, and then you'll hit next, and boom. And then if you switch trailers or have a new BOL throughout the night, like I did this morning, I should have showed you that, which I just forgot, you'll update that information. So that's why I do that. Our first stop is in Hammond, which according to the GPS says, I'm not exactly sure what way it's going to want me to go. I do not want to. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Good. Okay. Directions. That's what I'm looking for. Add to Navigo. And it says it is probably 319. And it wants me to take State Road 31. Whoa, where does it want me to go? Okay, it wants me to take State Road 31 to Route 30, over to 49, and then up to the toll road. I agree with that route. That's not a bad route. Now, they'll tell you when you start, you're not allowed to go more than, I think, 20 miles out of route, because they don't want you padding your miles. But if there's construction or something like that, you are allowed to go around, and they will basically negate that outgoing of the route. So like tonight, there is construction in Greenfield, Indiana. I think it's Greenville, Greenfield, Greentown, whatever it's called, right on State Road 35. I've got to dip down to 26, run that over to 31, run 31 north to Route 30, run 30 over to 49, 49 up to the toll road, and this Hammond store is the North Hammond store, which is out by the casino on the Skyway right before you go into Illinois. If you guys have been in that area, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, and you're out this way, you'll find out. Outside of that, I think we're pretty much good to go. So I am probably going to get out of here at about, again, I don't know why the camera shut off, but it did. So I will get back at 9 a.m. Since I started at 9 o'clock tonight, I will be done at 11 a.m. So my ETD will be for 10 with 1 hour to remain. Now, hopefully, this is where you can make your money at Walmart. If you want to work this is slow. I forgot to say that. Like I said, me adding a half hour to get 15 minutes is going to add time to my trip. I do that on purpose so that if I hit any traffic, if a store doesn't let me in, or something like that, I gain a little bit of time. The GPS saying that it takes 3 hours and 15 minutes will probably actually be closer to 2 hours and 50 minutes, because if you drive just 2 miles over this, like if speed limit's 60 and I'm doing 63 or 64 or 65, or even if I'm doing the speed limit, the GPS actually is a little bit slower than the actual travel time when you're on the highway. Now, if you're going through towns and stuff, the GPS is pretty accurate. So I'm going to gain a little bit of driving time because of the GPS, but I'm also building in a little bit of drive time here. So I might get back at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7:45, which would allow me 8:45 with a little over 2 hours left. And if I want, I can go in and say, hey, I've got 2 hours and 15 minutes left. Do you guys have something that's, you know, an hour or two away that maybe I can get to, do the drop and hook, and then shut down at that store, and then just make my way back tomorrow? If you can do that, if you can come back earlier and get that extra load, that's more miles, that's more departures, that's more arrivals, that's more drop and hooks, more activities. You can make an extra 50 to 100 bucks a day by doing a good ETD and getting back on time, not wasting time. Not saying you got to hurry, just be efficient with your time. You can get an extra load. So today, hopefully, since I got a decent day's sleep, hopefully I'll be good enough that I'll be rested enough I can get through the entire night, get back here by 7:45, maybe 8 a.m., and see what happens. Now, I am taking extra time making these videos, which I haven't really allotted in here, so I'm not sure if I'll make it or not. But let's see what happens. You guys are going along with the ride. This is day 2 in the week of a Walmart driver. All right, guys. It may not have been the best video for me to try to do tonight. There are 3 docks at this store in Hammond, and I can't really tell, but they're all full. That Walmart trailer is in front of a FedEx trailer. There is another trailer in front of that, and then there's also a reefer trailer over there. I can only assume that this store is undergoing some sort of remodel or something is wrong, because there is normally not that many trailers in one dock area. I mean, they're stacked in front of stacked out here. And in the grocery side, there's normally 1 or 2 open for us to get into to do our deliveries for meat and produce, things like that. There's normally 1 open, so you can drop that trailer, hook into another. So something must be going on here. But normally what you would do is you would back into that dock per protocol, which means you got to stop and do your 360, or you got to pre-trip your trailer, whatever it is you got to do for that stop. Back into the trailer. You'd walk up to that door right there. There's a button on the wall. You hit the button. It alerts them inside that you're there. And this is the one thing, you know, everybody always asks me, what is the thing I don't like about Walmart? I've never really had anything that really bothers me until now. And I never thought of it until tonight, because it was such an example. The communication between the driver and the store sometimes is almost impossible. Tonight, I walked up to that door, I hit the buzzer, because I don't know if they want me to pull out a trailer so I can back mine in and then back that one back in. I don't know what they want me to do with this situation. So I buzzed the door like you normally would. They would let you in. They're supposed to let you in within 10 minutes. Most of the time, the store lets you in 30 seconds. There's somebody back there. But at night, sometimes you run into a problem where there's nobody there. Like tonight. I knocked on the door, I buzzed the buzzer a couple of times, I waited the 10 minutes I'm supposed to wait. Nobody answered, nobody came back there. I walked all the way to the front of the store. I checked all of the doors in the front, because at night, sometimes there's a door that's open and you can get in. If not, you have to call dispatch or the office, the coordinators, and the coordinators will send a message to somebody in the store, and somebody in the store will come and answer the door. But we shouldn't have to go that far. The problem is some of us are using radios like this. Now, most stores, I know what radio or what channel the store is on. This one in the computer did not tell me what channel they're on. So normally I would get on the radio. Sometimes the radio works, sometimes it doesn't. But normally it will at least let them know that I'm here and they can come back to the door. But I don't know what channel this store's on. The other problem is some of the stores don't use those radios. They use a digital radio. Walmart doesn't give us digital radios. And then there are some stores that have gone through remodels and that are, you know, have newer technology, and they use something on their phone called a Planet app. As soon as you hit arrive on your tablet, it lets them know you're here. Somebody comes to the back to let you in when you get to the back door. Doesn't always work. It's technology. If the signal doesn't go through or they don't get alerted you're here, they don't have radios. They have the app. You can't communicate. We don't have the app. We don't have digital radios. We have the analog radios that work 50% of the time, which again, normally it's not a problem. Normally I can go ring the buzzer and there's somebody back there and I get in. But on times like this, what if I had a backhaul? What if I was running short on hours? I'm sitting here right now burning my time. And, you know, yes, you do get paid $15 an hour for downtime, but that starts 45 minutes after you've been to a store. As you guys saw last night, I was in and out of every store in less than 30 minutes. The downtime is normally never a factor. But nights like tonight, it's, which by the way, I got here at 1:20 or 1:13, I don't know, whatever it was. I'm here in plenty of time before they go to lunch. What if I get stuck out here for 40 minutes and then they go to lunch and they don't answer the door? Now I'm out here for another hour. I could be out here for almost 2 hours, hour and a half before I even get in the building or move a trailer or whatever it is I've got to do tonight to get unloaded and then be on my way. What should have been a 30-minute transaction has now become possibly 2 to 2.5 hours. That is the biggest problem I have with Walt, which is not really a big problem. I mean, I may be overstating it a little bit, you know, emotionally, because I'm aggravated because I can't figure out how to get in this store. But I've already called the office. I went off duty, came on here to make this video. I'm going to go back on duty, and hopefully somebody will answer the door and we can talk about, are they just unloading meat and produce over on the GM side? Or do I need to move some trailers? What do I need to do to get this job done? I haven't figured that out yet, but I will let you guys know later once I figure out what it is I'm supposed to do. Sorry guys, forgot to do a video before I left that last store because things were so chaotic. What happened was their freezers went down and they had to put the product in the reefer trailers to keep it frozen, and the trailer that was in the dock was a FedEx trailer, and those are for stores that have the home delivery stuff, so they have to put stuff on the FedEx trailers and it gets picked up once a day. And then the other dock was full because it had the actual grocery drop and hook guy, so that trailer was there. So they had me take the grocery one out because it was empty, park it on the other side of the store, and then I was able to back my trailer into that dock. So in case you're wondering, yes, there are some times where even though you're not a drop and hook, that you have to drop your trailer, pick up the one that's there, take it, move it to wherever it needs to go, drop that one, come back, pick yours up, and then continue with your work. So that being said, I got out of there. I got there ahead of schedule, so I got out of there a little bit ahead of schedule. Oh, maybe not. Sorry, my bad. I forgot about the time change. So I was trying to get here by 3:30 and leave by 4, and it's 4:10 because that last store really put me behind. So we'll go in here, we'll get this one done, and then we'll come out, go to our last Chicago store, and then we'll see where we're at as we head back to the depot. But as we talked, if everything went perfectly, I might have been able to get back to get another load. I also just got a message from Walmart that there is a fatality on 8094, so eastbound is closed. I'll check Google Maps traffic view to see how that looks before I leave, but I may just end up taking 57 down to, well, 394 to Route 17, run that across over to Indiana, which turns into Route 10, which happens to be the road I live on, catch I-65, and then either go 65 south and 26 over, or take 14 over to 35 and 16, and then blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I probably won't make it back early enough to get another load, but we'll see what happens. So I'll talk to you in a bit. All right, so I was at the South Doty store in Chicago. I got here right at 4:10. It's 4:30. I'm ready to rock and roll. This store is normally really good, especially if you get the guy named Landrus Cole. Landrus is an awesome freaking dude. Walmart needs more people like him. He's friendly, he's outgoing, and it seems like he treats his overnight staff really well. Just seems like a really cool dude. So, but some people talk about, oh, how tight is it behind a Walmart? Well, when you get guys that do this kind of stuff, there's a couple trucks parked right there. Now, I'm basically at the dock. I pulled it forward a little bit just so I wasn't at the door in case Well, I had to put my lock on. I forgot to put my lock on. So I pulled forward, put my lock on, and that way nobody can open up that door and be like, oh, I wanted to check. Did we leave a thing of meat on there? Whatever. You don't want somebody to be opening the doors. But that's how you come in, right there. And there's not a lot of room, and that's not a Walmart truck. That's Pam or something, whatever that guy is. I don't know. But he didn't leave a lot of room between these guys here, that guy there, and then they're parked. Well, you can't see them because there's a trailer here in the yard as well, but they park all the way up and down that little street. There's basically enough room for one lane for trucks to either go in or out. If somebody's coming up that lane, you got to wait, and I don't know where they're going to go, but yeah, it's a little crowded at this store because of all the people who are not Walmart drivers just park all over the place, wherever they want. They just... And I understand guys got to find a place to park, but sometimes it's just they park right in front of the dock where it's the most complicated to get out. So sometimes that is usually your biggest problem getting into a dock, is guys who want to park right in front of the dock and take up all the space you might need to back in and whatnot. But anyway, so we're off to store number 3. We're supposed to be there by 4:30. As you can see, we're not going to make it. But
asking for route.
It is
Building route.
8 minutes away, so we won't be too far behind. So let's see what we can get done. All right, so we are going to depart. It is 4:25 or 5:25. Why does it do that? I hate that. I get so confused when I switch time zones. So 5:25. We were hoping to leave at 5. That puts us a half hour behind this ETD, which means we're already eating into that 1 hour that we had. So I know I'm not going to get another load today. So I guess I'll get back to the DC a little early. I'll grab a shower and work on some emails, because I know I've had some emails come in over the night about onboarding and questions about Walmart and things like that. So probably spend an hour or so trying to brush up on the emails and try to touch base with people that I probably should have been touching base with on Monday. But that was my go home day, and then I went home and then I kind of forgot, and I worked on a little bit while I was at home, but not enough, because I get so many emails a day. So that being said, that is the end of tonight's route. I'll head back to the depot, and when I get there, this trailer needs to be dropped off for service, by the way. Because at the last stop, as I backed in, the light came on and I checked it and it said low engine oil. Now, if that happens to you, you can call the shop. The shop will recommend that you use your Walmart card, go into the Walmart, purchase the oil, put the oil in the trailer, in the engine. But in this case, since it was the very last stop, I'm headed back. I have no pickups to do. I'm going to shut the reefer off, take it back to the depot, tell the gate that it needs to be out of service. Then the shop will come and get it when they're ready for it. They'll fix the oil problem, and it'll be back on its merry way. If I had more stores to do, or had pickups to do, or needed to, I would put the oil in myself. That's protocol from my understanding. It happened to me once before. That's what they told me to do, so I did. Also, this store is probably one of the tighter turns that I've ever done. I've had people ask me, is there blind backing at Walmart? Yes and no. I mean, you're always going to find that one spot that maybe you've got a blind back, but this store, I don't know if you can see, the curb is literally right there at the edge. And this roadway right here is very narrow. And again, there's trucks parked on both sides of the aisle, so you can't really use the aisleway any. So, and then over here on the other side of, I'm seeing my mirror. On the other side of this wall, there's a bunch of pallets and plastic bales and stuff like that. So I couldn't really hug super close. So I just hugged as close as I could, kind of snaked out a little bit, and then got in behind that truck. And then I just did the blind back into here after doing my 360. If you guys are wondering what 360 is, I know I probably haven't talked about it a lot. It's not a new thing. It's something I guess we were always supposed to do, But when you get to a DC or when you get to a store before you back into the dock, you have to shut the truck off, get out, do a walk around the entire truck, do a 360, and look for things and obstacles. Like there's a yellow pole right there that I needed to be aware of. I've got the corner of the building with that curb over there. There's trucks in that alleyway, and in that dock over there, you can barely see it, there are pallets blocking that doorway. They're not out here at the front where they sometimes are, they're way at the back. So they do that when they have a dock that's broken or is full of product or whatever the case, whatever reason, they put pallets to block that. So you have to get out and do a 360 so that you can check for things like that. Make sure there's nothing on the ground you're going to run over, because I guess this last month or last week, whatever it was, I believe it was our Region 5, had 5 preventables, I think they said. I can't remember exactly. I just know that there were a bunch of preventable accidents, and it's actually been a bad year for Walmart. We've had a lot of little things like people hitting yellow poles, people hitting parked cars. One they said was a snowbank from the wintertime. The guy thought the snow would move and it was actually frozen, and I guess he messed up the bumper. But there was a lot of things that happened, and now Walmart is reinforcing the 360 rule. So if you guys are not here yet, you'll learn about that when you get to onboarding. Like I said, basically it just means get out, do a 360 before you actually back in. If you're at the DC, you kind of do the same thing. You can do your 360 and your pre-trip at the same time if it's allowed where you are. Otherwise, like at Gas City, you have to park like along the trailers, kind of cover up the hole you're going to back into so nobody takes it. Get out, do a 360 walk around, and then you can go ahead and maneuver and back into your spot. And if you need to, get out and look again. Outside of that, that's pretty much it. I'm going to check Google and see if I can go back the 8094 route, or if I've got to go 394 to 17 to Route 10 to however I'm going to go back. So, yeah, well, I guess I'll see you guys when we get back to the depot and before we shut down for the day. Okay, so last night, you guys pretty much saw most of what happened. On the way back, my radio decided to turn itself off, turn itself back on, connect my Bluetooth, play for 10-15 seconds, shut itself off again, and it continued to do this for 3 hours. It was a miserable drive back with nothing to listen to except for 10 seconds each song about 7 times. So I tried to listen through my headset, but I've got a I need to upgrade my headset. I'm not sure what that is. Canambo. I think it was probably a $20 headset. Never really improved or bought a better one, but maybe I should. I hate to spend 150 whatever dollars on Blue Parrot or whatever the other one is, and it just be moderately better, because that one's not bad. It's just listening to the radio was a little crappy in one ear. But anyway, so we got back to the depot, and I had to drop that. I told the front gate that trailer had a light issue, that it was telling me that it was low on oil, like I mentioned to you guys, and I parked it over in the row where they park all the disabled trailers and whatnot, and the shop will get to it when they can get to it, but that one's out of service now. And I went, turned my paperwork in, and it's ready to go to bed. I've got about 12 hours before I can technically really start. My normal start time's 11. I've got it set to start at 10. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. Sometimes if they're backed up on loads or they've got other guys that are rolling their clock back too, I'll go in at 10 o'clock and say, hey, got anything for me? And if I don't see it on the tablet, or even if I do see it on the tablet, sometimes it's not ready. They'll be like, oh, it's at 87%. Then you got to wait about 20 minutes, and then they got to pull it away from the door and find a place to park it, and then the coordinators will release your paperwork to you. on a bad night, which hasn't really happened in a while. But when I first came to Gas City, they were short-staffed in the warehouse. And this was about a year ago. So it was like at the tail end, you know, COVID was kind of done. We still had to do the mask thing, but it was really kind of hit or miss. It was right about that time. Things were opening back up, and the warehouse was trying to catch up to all the people now shopping and going out and doing things. And there were some times that the wait time was 2 hours, 3 hours. Now, the one bad thing about that is if you are at your home DC, for example, I'm at Gas City. Let's say the guy here, he's a guy, Moose from Greencastle. Oh, no, he's from Gas City. Anyway, well, let's just pretend Moose is from Greencastle. And Moose and I are both here waiting on our loads. They're not done yet. Their warehouse is behind or whatever. And he waits an hour and 45 minutes, and I wait an hour and 45 minutes. I do not get paid for that hour and 45 minutes. Moose will get paid for the hour, because remember, you get paid the $15 an hour after the first 45 minutes. So he'll get paid for an hour of downtime, as to where I do not. Why they do that, I don't know. The only reason I could see is because then drivers who are from here would just go on duty and go sit in the break room and drink coffee and fart around. I don't know. I mean, that's literally the only reason I can think of. Maybe there's a better reason. I'm not exactly sure, but that's the way it works. So like if I was down at Seymour, or if I was up at Coldwater and I had to wait for my load, I would get paid the detention time. I have seen guys sitting in their trucks for a long time, and then all of a sudden they take off. Were they waiting for their clock to let up? Were they taking? They couldn't have been doing a 30-minute break. They did more than that. But whatever. I've seen some guys where I kind of thought, are they milking the clock? I don't know. I think that's also why Walmart only makes it $15 an hour. Because realistically, I'll be honest, if it was $25 an hour, I bet a lot of guys would be taking their sweet time at every stop, every DC, everywhere, wherever they were at. Now, other things like weather pay, if you were to break down, things like that, those clocks start immediately. You get the $15 an hour immediately. If you're doing like, if you're in a meeting or some sort of Walmart sanctioned thing, then that's where they pay you the 1/10 of your ADP. So if your ADP was $400 and you had to sit in a meeting for 2 hours, you got $80, $40 an hour for that meeting. But if it's more of a detention type thing, then you only get the 15. So it is what it is. When you get on at Walmart and you start running and you start doing, you'll realize the money just kind of falls from the sky. I mean, you really don't have to do a lot to make a decent living. Now, I know there was a guy that commented on one of my things the other day. I used to work at Walmart. I only made $63,000, and then I got fired. Well, come to find out, he worked there 3 years ago. Walmart has, as you guys probably know, gone through some substantial raises for all of the drivers. I've shown you guys my paycheck. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I show you my exact paycheck. My gross should be somewhere between 105 and 110, maybe more, but probably not, only for the simple fact that hopefully here around November, I will be doing the bariatric surgery and I will be out for 6 weeks. Once you're out for 6 weeks, you get Walmart drivers get free short-term disability. So I'm going to be on short-term disability because I'm going to be out for the 6 weeks. Doing all of that, so that you only get 80% of your regular pay. So I'm going to be getting ADP. So yeah, I'm going to take a little bit of a hit, but that's okay. Other than that, guys, there's really not much more to say today. I think I've got 2 days left. I think this was my second day. So tonight will be day 3, and then day 4, and then I'm done for the week. Because like I said, I took a PTO day at the beginning of the week for doctor's appointments and things like that. So yeah, I'll see you tonight and we'll do it again. So as I've been doing these videos this week, I've kind of wondered, you know, why people want a day in the life of the Walmart driver. I kind of think it's boring, and it's also stuff you guys are probably going to learn when you get with your mentor. But then I come into little things like this that maybe no one's going to tell you. And I have not gone on and gotten my paperwork yet tonight. I have my EDT set for 10 o'clock tonight. Now, as I said this morning, that was like 12 hours. I don't need all that time. I only don't need all that time because I only need 10 hours off. I'm sitting out here at the truck. It's just after 9 o'clock, so I'm 45 minutes ahead of my ETD, which is, if I was to walk in there right now, my paperwork may not be ready because, like I told you guys, when you set your EDT for a certain time, sometimes your load is ready by that time, which is supposed to be estimated time of departure, but that doesn't always work out. So you should be able to get your stuff at 9, be out the gate by 10. Normally it doesn't work that way. Normally you get your paperwork at 10 and start your day. But what happens if I was to start my logbook right now and go on duty, go inside, and my stuff's not ready? Don't go on duty until you know you're good. And here's why it would be so important tonight. I have a pretty good run. I don't think I've seen this one before, but I've got 121 miles to Mishawaka. Then we've got 65 miles to Valparaiso. Then we've got 35 miles to Lansing, Illinois. That already is a good run. Then they have me with a vendor in Paw Paw, Michigan, which is Coke or Minute Maid. That is another 107 miles. And then I got to go from there back to Gas City. That's over 500 miles for the night. If I was to start my clock right now, I am going to eat up a bunch of my 14-hour day if my stuff's not ready. So what I'll do is I'll go in, I'll get my paperwork if it's ready, I'll bring it out to the truck, I'll do my paperwork, then I'll go on duty, do a quick pre-trip, go grab the trailer, and I'm on my way. Hopefully the trailer doesn't need fueled up. You're supposed to fuel it when you drop them off, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can make this a very efficient evening. I can get all 500 and some miles done, get all 4 stops, the 3 stops plus the vendor, get all of that done, and get back here by the end of the day because tomorrow's my go-home day. Now, what happens if you don't get back before your go-home day? Nothing. If I get this an hour, let's say I only make it to Fort Wayne, and let's say that's where I run out of time. Tomorrow on my go-home day, I'll set my EDT for 9 hours left for the day and what time that I'll get back here and that I'll be ready to leave, and they'll have something for me that I can finish out my go-home day. Now, in your go-home day, you're supposed to, I've heard different things. I don't know what the actual 100% solid rule is, but when you're on like a 6-3, or if you're working 5-2 and you're going to extend, you must have 6 hours for that last day. But if I'm just working a 5-day week, how many hours do I have to work on that last day on go-home day? Nobody wants to put in a full 14 hours on their go-home day, especially me. I drive 3 hours to get home. I don't want to burn up a full day of going home by putting in a 14-hour day here and then driving 3 hours home, and I still haven't slept yet. So do I just sleep when I get home and that whole entire day with the family and stuff is wasted? Or do I work 10 hours? Am I okay to work 10 hours? Drive, I don't know what the solid rule is, and you kind of get a different answer from different people that you ask. So normally what I do is I do a minimum of 10 hours, and I try not to do more than 12. So what I'll do, and you guys will see this tomorrow, is when I set my EDT, I will, if like you guys have seen this week, I normally only have an hour or 2 of time left. If that's all I have, I will, what they call, zero out my hours, or I will make my hours say in such, like that I have 1 hour left, so that they can't really give me anything. If you put in your true EDT, and let's say tomorrow they give me just a couple of Indianapolis runs, and I didn't make it back, so that was 2 hours. Indianapolis runs take 6 hours. I've used up 8 hours of my day. I'm going to have 5 or 6 hours left of my go-home day. If you put that in as a proper EDT and say you take an hour to get the trailer drive and you say you got 4 left, they will give you another drop and hook or something like that and use up those last 4 hours. So every driver I've talked to has always said they short 2 hours. Now, you might think, oh, 2 hours isn't bad. By shorting 2 hours, when you get back here, you might actually have 3. They could give you something if they catch that. If you go in and tell them, hey, it's my go-home day, I've only got 3 hours left, I'm not 100% sure I can get that done, get back here, and still be able to go home, sometimes they'll take it off. It's kind of hit or miss. So we'll cover more about that tomorrow when it's actual go-home day. But I just wanted to let you guys know the tip for this section is don't do your pre-trip, go on duty, especially if you're early like I am. I'll be a half hour before my EDT before I walk into the building, even if it was 10 o'clock. What if they're running behind by an hour or two? And I set myself to on duty because it's time. It's 10 o'clock. Then you walk in and something happens to where they're not ready. You're going to blow your entire day because you started your clock. So I'm going to go in, get the paperwork. I'll come back out and we'll see what happens. All right, night number 3, as we discussed, same thing that we've done the last 2 nights. Number, name. We'll go out here to our day and get our trip number. Gotta end my layover. Just made $42 by clicking a button. Start my day. And I just did the pre-trip, so of course I can't show you guys that. They don't let me do that. Depart time, it is 9:42. Let's call our depart time 22:15. Now let's make it 22:30. I'm going to get fuel before I leave. Won't take me 15 minutes to fuel, but it's always nice to give yourself a buffer. Sorry guys, didn't realize I'd have that on the screen. So we'll depart here at 22:30. Oh yeah, I need that begin trip number, which is 311-444-37. And how long does it take to get to Mishawaka from here? So click directions, put in the pre-trip, and it says 2 hours and 38 minutes. So that's going to put us at 2.5 hours, which is going to put us at 1 o'clock when I get there, which is fine because that's before the 2 o'clock lunchtime. We should be out of there by 1:30. And then if I remember correctly, it was it 40 some miles to Valpo? Messages, dispatch. Oh, it's 65. It's going to take about an hour. So we will get to Valpo at 2:30, but it'll be 1:30 their time because Valpo's on Central Time. So that's perfect. We'll get out of there about 3 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock their time. They'll go to lunch, and then we'll get to Lansing. I'm going to say about 3:45. Now, they'll probably be on lunch at 2:45 still, but maybe they'll let me in. If not, I've only got to wait about 15 minutes. So we'll leave there at 4:15, and then we will arrive at the vendor. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3. This is the vendor. Now, the vendor is 107 miles from Lansing, Illinois. Half of that's highway, which I'll make good time. The other half I know is smaller roads in Michigan, and Michigan roads suck so bad. Every time you drive through Michigan, you should get a free concussion check, because the roads are freaking horrible. They're worse than Indiana. Most of that's going to be the little back roads, though. So if you figure 120 miles at 60 miles an hour is 2 hours, so that's probably going to be close to 2 hours. So we'll call that 6:15, and we'll leave there. That is a drop and hook, but you got to go in the office, yada yada. So we'll call that 7:15, and then we will get back to the DC at, I believe that is a 3-hour run. But that one I can plug in the GPS. You can plug the GPS with the first and the last. You can't go from your second stop to your third stop, or first stop to second stop. The GPS doesn't work that way. It only goes from where you are. So since I'm here, I can do from here to my first stop, and then I can do from the vendor back to here by just clicking directions to the vendor right now. And it says that Paw Paw is 3.5 hours away, which is, I think I get 3:10. Like I said, when you're on the highway, you gain a little bit of time, about 5 minutes to 10 minutes per hour. But we're going to go ahead and just call it 3:15. So 3:15 brings us back here at 10:30, which would give us an ETD of, and let's see, what time did we say it was right now? It is 21:46. So what is that going to be? Let's just call it 22. So, well, let's call it 21:30 or 9:30. So that means I can go until 11:30 today, which will give me basically an ETD of 0, because I have to have 1 hour to drop and hook or drop and go to the office and whatever. So as you can see, tonight's run is a little tighter than the ones we've had. We're only going to have about an hour of play if everything goes well. No traffic, no issues, nothing. But as you guys have seen, I always add about 15 minutes or so into each stop. You know, this stop here might get done in 20 minutes. This one here might get done in just a couple, 20 minutes. This one here might take all 30. I don't know how many stops each place has. Let's take a look real quick. Nope, they're all pretty short. First stop's got 9, second one's got 11, third one's got 7. So each stop should take about 20 minutes. 10 minutes per stop. That's an extra half hour I've got built in. As long as I don't get hung up at Lansing, as long as they let me in, even though they're on lunch, we should be good to go. And that store, I don't believe, hangs up at lunchtime. So we might get back here with an hour to an hour and a half. Now, why is that important? Tomorrow's go-home day. If we can start at 9:30 tomorrow, that means our day will only last as long as 11:30, which then I have to clean out the truck and get all my stuff out, pack up my car, and so that would get me home 3 hours after 11ish, let's say 12, 1, 2 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 o'clock Central, because I live in the Central time zone. So if I don't get back till 1 o'clock, my day is pretty much done. What am I going to do for sleep? Or am I just going to stay up all day and go to bed a little early that night? Working midnights and going home, that's the biggest problem with doing midnights is the home time. But it is my 3-day weekend, since I do the 5-2, 5-3. So if the first day is kind of trash, let's say, at least I've got 2 more days still. So I'm going to run over to the fuel island and top this off, because I've got just over a half a tank. It doesn't say that now because I've got the truck shut off, but I know I've got a half a tank of fuel. This is over 500 miles. I could do it, but let's not push it. So we'll go ahead and get fuel real quick, run out, grab our trailer, and see if we can get out of here by our estimated time of 10:30. All right, well, tonight has been a night from hell. It is 3:30, and I'm just now getting to my first stop. I'm 2 hours behind because, 1, rain and weather, 2, a detour in South Bend that I was unaware of, and the biggest one was because there was a set of railroad tracks not but just 2 miles from the DC that the arms were broken, and I was not able to get around. I was not able to turn around. I was stuck there. I had to call the emergency number on the pole, and it took over an hour and a half for the repair guy to show up, and it was about 2 hours by the time he got everything done, and I was able to go on my way. So it is 3:30. I'm just now getting to my first stop. This is going to be trash, but we'll see how the rest of the night goes. And I'm also going to try to take screenshots of my daily pay so that you guys can see, even on a disastrous night, the money will not be terrible. At least I don't think it will be, but we'll find out. All right, easy peasy. Got out of there in a half hour, so it's just now 4 o'clock. We're going to head out. Also, the other thing that put me behind tonight, guys, was something I've never seen before. I was at the fuel island getting fuel in the truck, and I put the nozzle in the gas tank, and about, I don't know, 5 seconds later, I'm standing there watching it, just, you know, because I didn't have much else to do, so I was just watching them, and all of a sudden, the hose shoots up out of the fuel tank and lands on the ground. Gas was going everywhere. I flipped the switch real fast, and then I proceeded to finish fueling and clean up what I could, and, you know, did my thing, but my shoes smell like diesel fuel, so I've had a little bit of a headache tonight as well. This has been probably one of the worst days I've had since I've been working at Walmart, except for the day that I sprained my ankle. Yeah, this would be the worst day I've had since I've been at Walmart. So you guys are getting to see the good, and you're getting to see the bad, I guess. But touch base with you when we get to Valpo. Alright guys, it's been a hell of a night. I don't even know where to begin. We had the diesel spill, we had the train tracks, we had rain, then I had a detour that took me about 20 minutes out of my way. Finally got to my first stop at 3:30, was supposed to be there at 1:30. Then 4:30, well, 4:20 by the time I got to Valpo. There was a crate. Yeah, I took pictures of it. I'll put some pictures here in this video. The guys had to have loaded it that way. The way that it was turned, it looked like they loaded the pallet and it caught the pallet next to it, and he just kind of pushed it in there. And it turned sideways. It was kind of leaned back a little bit too. The only way I could have done that is if I was going backwards and stopped quickly, or I hit a dock super hard. There's no way I could have done that, but theoretically, that's about it. So Valpo took a little while because of that pallet. Then I finally got to Lansing at 7:10 Eastern time. All deliveries are supposed to be done by 6, so I missed that delivery by 10 minutes. But the office knows about the train, and I think I told them about the other stuff. I can't remember. I'm not sure how much that 10 minutes is going to affect it, but finally got to Lansing, Illinois. I was late getting to that one because there was a accident on 8094 in the construction zone, and at that time of day, you can imagine, being everybody trying to get to work, it was a complete disaster. Took forever. Should not have taken me over 2 hours to drive 24 miles, I think it was. Valpo to Lansing is not that far. Anyway, so finally got to Lansing, got that taken care of, got to Paw Paw, Michigan, but there was no trailers there for the drop and hook, so I'm a live unload, but I'm about to run out of hours. There is a Walmart here in Paw Paw, Michigan, so I dropped that trailer, buzzed over to the Walmart here in Paw Paw. I'm going to take my 10-hour break here, then I'm going to go back to Paw Paw. I should get there, this is what I've estimated. It's 11:30 now when I shut down, so I'll be able to start my day at about 21:30. By the time I do my pre-trip, get over there, pick up the trailer, leave their yard, it's probably going to be close to 22:30, maybe a little bit later, and it's going to take 3.5 hours to get back to Gas City. So that's where the 3 o'clock comes in. Now I'm going to gain a lot of time going back on the highway, so it might be before 3, but in case I run a little long here, I'm not going to adjust that. So that's where I'm kind of thinking maybe My ETD should be probably 3:30, maybe 4 o'clock. I really probably ought to make that between 3:30 and 4, just in case I do run a little long or something, but I don't want it to run too long because I'm supposed to be on meat and produce, but that's not going to happen tonight because by 3:30 they'll probably have most of it done. That will leave me a total, if I leave at 3:30, that'll leave me a total of 8 hours. I'm going to tell them I have 6, just so that I can make sure I make it back to the yard. It's go home day. I don't want to get stuck on the highway in traffic, stuck at a vendor or a store or whatever. And that would leave me 8 hours on my day total, 6 hours to drive. I hope you guys followed all that craziness, because this has been the worst day I have ever had the entire time I've been at Walmart. It's not Walmart problems. It's just the train, the traffic, the accident. I mean, it's just been, I've never had this many things stop me in a day or get in my path as I have today. So that's it. I don't know what else to tell you. To be honest, guys, I am tired. I'm frazzled. I'm beyond. Anyway. So, hopefully I'll get a decent amount of sleep today. I think I'm going to take some laps around the parking lot. Try to walk off, exercise off some of the steam that I've got built up right now, because I'm done. I'm toast. I am so glad tomorrow's go home day. I don't know what's going to happen when I get to the yard this late with this load, but I'm about to call the DC and let them know exactly what's going on, just so they know. And yeah, we'll pick this up tonight when I pick that trailer back up. They haven't even started loading it yet, so I told them I said I was going to buzz over here. I'll come pick it up in 10 hours. They said that's fine. So that's what we're going to do, folks. We'll see you tonight. All right, so as you guys can see here, the first night we're going to show you is Saturday. This is what I got paid for that day, $513.42. My average, or ADP average daily pay, is $369. Now you're wondering, how can there be such a difference? The ADP is calculated like we talked about in a previous video, where they take the last basically 26 weeks or 13 paychecks. They extrapolate that out and then divide it by 10, or add it all up, basically divide it by 10. So if you've had time off where you didn't get paid, or you used PTO days, or like you guys may have seen this week, or you will see on your go home day, if you don't work a full day, I may only get $250 on my go home day, because there's no layover pay. That's a quick $50 that you lose. So your last day is always going to bring your pay down. The other thing that I've mentioned to you guys is, being that I work a 5-2-5-3, as you may have seen in the scheduling video that I showed you before, sometimes you only get 8 or 9 days per pay period, which if you divide that by 10 is going to lower your ADP. So the more you can extend, the more you can have really good days, the higher your ADP is going to be. So you can see here, this was a great day on the very first day. Didn't have a lot of problems that first day. And it's basically, you can see that here on Saturday events. You've got the arrive. I've got 2 arrive and drops, which is basically probably just coming back to the DC, dropping the trailer I had, picking up another one. I've got 456 evening miles. Now, the reason that's important is you get 7 cents per mile when you work Friday midnight to Sunday midnight, which most of these days are going to be. 7 cents a mile isn't a lot, but you figure, you know, if you drive almost 500 miles like I did, it might be like an extra $35. I had 2 hooks. I had 1 layover, which pays $42. I had 4 live unloads, and the mileage doesn't matter because it was evening miles. They probably just, this is just 7 cents here, and then they pay the regular whatever your mileage is here. And I had 3 stops. All those activities are like 10 to 12.50 a piece, whatever the thing is. So that all equals the what we just saw a second ago under Saturday pay. That comes up to $513.42. So when we look at Sunday events, now this was the night where things started to go just sideways on me. I had one arrive, one drop. I only had 334 miles. I only had one hook. I had one layover. I had 3 live unloads, and I had 2 stops. So as you can see, this was not as good of a night. And my Sunday pay comes out to be $388.74. So even though it wasn't that great of a night, we still are above our ADP, and that's what I shoot for. I shoot for a higher than what I have on my ADP, so hopefully I can make my ADP higher when I have my go-home day. Now, the Monday day, Monday events, looks like this. We had 2 arrives. We had 411 miles. We had 1 layover. We had 1 live load. We had 3 live unloads and 2 stops. But I did have a little bit of wait time that day, as you see, 272. And I have not found out yet if I'm supposed to get paid for the railroad crossing issue. I completely forgot. I'll try to figure that out and update you guys on that. But Monday pay, as you're going to see, was $449.65. So another really good day, way above ADP, even though that day was a complete disaster of waiting at the shipper, of getting caught at stores. I got paid for most of the stuff that happened, and I still made almost $450 for that day. Now, the one thing that you're going to see for the day I went home, this was basically Tuesday. You see this yellow line here. It says OTR adjusted pay PTO. What I decided to do, since I don't know if I told you guys, I had some personal stuff going on here at home. Things were really crazy this last day. By the time I got from Paw Paw, Michigan, I got that load back to the DC. It was like 3:30 in the morning. And I would have had like 5 or 6 hours left on my clock that I could have drove or done something with. So what I did, and I did not pull up a picture of that day's pay, but it was only like $150. As you can see, I had 1 arrive and drop to the DC. I only had 142 miles, which was basically going from Paw Paw, Michigan to the DC. And I was just spent. I'd only had 2 hours of sleep because I couldn't sleep that day. The new breathing mask was just jacking with me. I had some news from home that had me agitated. It was just the stuff that had all happened at work. It was just completely chaotic. I asked if I could go home early since it was my go-home day. They said they were low on freight, and that actually worked out better for them, so they allowed me to do that. Now, if I would have just went home with 142 miles and 1 arrive and drop, I would have had like a $150 day. It would have been, because there's no layover, because I didn't lay over that day because I went home. So it would have been a crap pay. So what you can do if you just work and save up all your PTO time is every time you go home on your go home day, if it doesn't meet your ADP, to keep your ADP high, use a couple hours of PTO time. So in this case, I used 7 hours and 9 minutes of PTO time, which is about 3/4 of a day. And now this day will be brought up to exactly what my ADP is. It will stay at the 369 or whatever that number was a moment ago. So you can do that with your PTO time as well. There's a lot of things you can do with all this PTO time you get other than just take days off. When you take a day off, you're going to get, they use 10 hours for 1 day, and you're going to get your full ADP for that day. So if you're a guy that doesn't like to take a lot of vacations, or you work a lot and at the end of the year, you're only allowed to roll over 10 days of PTO. Well, what if you've got 20 days? Because your first year can earn up to 26 days of PTO and 4 safety days. Well, you can use that PTO time to do stuff like this. So I just wanted to show you guys that even though that I had a horrible week and I got caught everywhere I went, there was always something stopping me. There was a 513 day, there was the 388 day, and then there was the 449 day. The 3 worst days I have ever had at Walmart, I still made above ADP all 3 days. You do not have to rush at Walmart. You can take your time. You can do whatever you want to do. and you will still make great money at Walmart. Now, this is only a part of the pay week. I don't know what my whole check is going to look like, but my average is almost always the same no matter what I do because of my schedule, having, certain days here, certain days there, not having a full 10 days. I almost always bring home whatever, like the $2,600, $2,700, whatever my normal paycheck is, which comes out to about gross. I think I'm close to being on track without the referrals that I had gotten for $110,000 this year. And I do not run hard. I do not. I basically just do what they give me. I take naps in the mornings because I don't do caffeine now because I'm getting ready for the surgery and they want me to not have caffeine, so I'm trying to rid my body of caffeine. So I take naps in the morning. I took a nap that one morning on these 3 days I'm showing you here. That first morning, I took a nap. That's why that second day might be a little bit lower, because if I could have gotten to the DC with that 2 hours extra, and maybe I would have gotten an extra load and made that extra $50 to $100 that day, instead of, what was it, Saturdays? No, that was the first day. It would have been Sunday's pay, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yes. Instead of this being $388, this would have been add $50. 90, that's $440. Maybe it would have been more. Maybe it would have been closer to the $513. I know there's a lot of guys out there that are making the $500 a day, like I did on that one day on Saturday. I mean, the $513. It should be very easy to make for grocery drivers. Now, I don't know about GM. I would think everybody says GM makes more money, but they don't get the activities. They get the miles. I mean, they get the drop and hooks and stuff, but they are not normally going to get 3 or 4 stores in a day. They're going to drive 500 miles and maybe make 1 or 2 drop and hooks or whatever. But when I worked, and I was new, maybe I didn't quite have the hang of it yet, but I didn't make as good of money at GM as I'm making at grocery right now. So the money is there, guys. That's the one thing I wanted you guys to take away from this video, even though I had a hell of a week. Everything went. I can't think of something that really didn't go wrong other than a breakdown. And I still made great money. So take that for what it's worth for you guys when you guys get in there. Now you're going to be able to know you don't have to hurry. You don't have to rush. Take your time. Do it right. Don't get in any accidents. Don't, none of that kind of stuff. And you're going to make great pay.